Hey everybody, what's happening? Welcome to Ready Set Crypto. My name is Doc Severson. Today is Wednesday, the 20th of September so far. And it's interesting today because we have a Fed day, Fed decision rate, and the Fed decided to pause rates. However, they did get pretty hawkish, or Jerome Powell did get pretty hawkish in his statements and said that they were going to raise rates yet again one more time this year. Now, the bond market doesn't believe them, because they still have the probability of another rate hike by December still down somewhere in the 40% rate. So they don't believe the Fed. They think things are right now priced to perfection, or maybe a little bit too far. All right, so let's get started here. Welcome aboard, everybody. Let me know where you are located. I'd like to know where you're coming in from today and joining us from. So we have Coolio in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. And we have Yes to Crypto and the Crypto Bureau from the Gold Coast in Australia. Welcome aboard, everybody. So let me know where you're coming in from. And also, when you get to it, let me know a coin pair that you'd like to see me do. That's the way that we do things here. We're going to be walking through any charts that you guys want to, whether or not they're in the crypto market. It could be the equities market, commodities, whatever you want to look at. And I shall opine. I'll let you know what I think of your chart in terms of the trend and the potential of that chart to trend in one direction or another. Been doing this now for about 20 years or so. I don't know any more about the future than you guys do, but I can at least, I'll tell you what I see in the charts, and maybe that'll be of some value to you. So let's start things off while I welcome everybody with Bitcoin versus the US dollar. And right now, what we've seen since really mid-July is we've seen a series of lower highs and lower lows. Now, this move here, which has been nice, it's been over 2,000 points, but it's still coming up to this descending trend line, as well as a cluster of resistance points through the anchored VWAPs. Those are coming at around 28,000 or so. So it's having a tough time. This is what I talked about in yesterday's newsletter report, is that I thought it was going to have a tough time getting through there. Now, here's what would be bullish, is if the price just kind of consolidated in a little tiny, what we call a high and tight flag. This is going to be bullish, and this would imply that the price will probably break higher from here. Now, on the other hand, if we see the price do something like this, where it just outright just drops like a stone from here, then probably this is just another lower high on the way to a lower price. Now, what I've been talking about for some time is the need for this chart. This is Bitcoin versus the US dollar on a monthly chart. What I think that we need to do is we need to drift back a little bit lower. And I don't know where this is going to come down to. Nobody else does know, even though some people will claim that they know, but they don't know. But we do need to establish a higher low. This is what happened back here in the beginning of 2019, as well as March of 2020. All of these, before we had a significant rip to the upside, we established a serious higher low. It's almost a foothold. If you're used to climbing, it's almost like a great place where you can really push off from. And that's what we need to do, is we need to push off from that serious higher low. Also, what's going to happen is that serious higher low is going to have very, very negative sentiment. So this is where all the new folks are going to want to woof their cookies, right? This is where a lot of folks will be saying, I can't do this anymore, I'm going to sell. And that's what's necessary for this negative environment, because what it also encourages the bears to get active again. And if the bears get down to this point and start to go short, we saw a very similar thing happen here at the end of the year. This is where we can have a big short squeeze and get this thing really started. Who else has showed up here? Doctor in the house. Greetings from Oxford, UK. The Bridge of Sighs. All right, let's see. The Crypto Bureau would like to see Link, Rune, and INJ. So we'll get that going. So your gut tells you 22K, just feeling that would take some players out. Yeah, you got to take one step back to go 2 steps forward. And I don't care whether it's a crypto market, equities, commodities. This is the way that markets operate. They typically operate in a contrarian fashion. You got to go lower to go higher. You've got to build up that negative sentiment. A lot of people have been whining for the last, as long as I've been doing this, why can't we just get rid of the bears? The bears suck. This market would be so much better without the bears. No, you want the bears. You want that balance to be out there. You want the bears to get too excited during times like this, because it's the bears' active covering that starts the initial shot to a rally. Okay, so with that in mind, let me go out to the daily chart and I will take requests now. And we're going to start with Crypto Bureau from the Gold Coast of Australia, who is going through, just transitioning into spring now. So it must be an exciting time for you guys. All right, so we're going to look at Chainlink. So Chainlink has had a nice move and actually showed a buy signal for us today. Might have been yesterday. Okay, so I would say Chainlink right now is one of the best of the worst, right? One of the best of the worst, because it's had a terrible, terrible base that it's been in since really the April timeframe of 2022. It's been in this long base. And this is why I have this yellow line here, because it's got to get above this yellow line before anything is going to happen. And right now that's about 8.2. So we see this all the time. We see markets, we see coins making a long extended base. And then when everybody forgets about them, all of a sudden they go ripping higher. So we've seen this. We saw this exact same thing happen back in 2018, 2019, before we saw the moon. So the same thing, big rounded base. So that this one's, in the process of building that. So I like that. It's still a little bit premature to go hunting down here for this one. But if you want an early entry, $7 isn't bad right now. Okay, Rune. Let's go look at Rune. And we're going to look at Rune versus Tether. And you can see this one has had better days as well, too. This is one of, like everything else, that is in a very long base. Now, extra credit for those of you that can spot this. What is different about the recent price action on Rune? Can anybody spot the recent price action in Rune? What's different about it right now? Okay, a couple of things. First of all, I would say notice what's happening with the volume. Volume is the key. The volume is starting to drive things. Now, we've gotten above this big cluster of anchored VWAPs, which is, it's still in the base, but it's starting to make progress within the base. Can you see the base here? It's kind of this big, rounded, ugly thing down here. So it's still, I would say the top of the base is still about $2. And we've rejected hard right at that level. So it's getting there. It's building up. It's building up pressure to escape the base. But volume is going to be the key towards this thing getting out of there. Yeah, very, very good. Okay, next one for the Crypto Bureau is INJ. INJ. Let's see what this one is. Now, this one is looking pretty good. We've looked at this one before in some of our some of our little sessions here. All right, so let's take a bigger look at this. A bigger look, if we go out to the weekly chart, we can see that it's had better days, as has everything has had better days. But it's doing particularly well lately. So it's starting to find some support. The green line here represents the 200-day moving average, and we've gotten a nice bounce off of the 200-day moving average. So that's good. What I'd like to see it do is get above $8 here. Get above $8 here. Let's take a longer term look. So this one's gotten out of its base. So here is the base that it had, and it's gotten above that. So now it's starting to gain some altitude, and we want to see it continue to gain altitude and not lose any altitude. So at this point right now, I would say a break above 8 is going to be required to stay in this one. Okay, very good. Nice coins to look at there. Hola from Mexico. Bueno. I am I'm looking forward to some Chipotle later on today. Okay, so David from Mexico, we're going to look at Ethereum. And Ethereum has not really been all that great lately. So, you know, there was talk about the flippening and how Ethereum was going to own the world and dominate Bitcoin and all that stuff. And I myself was an Ethereum investor until the beginning of 22, and then I had to bail on it. It was starting to break some serious lines here. It was starting to break some serious lines in. So I had to go out. So I'm no longer invested in Ethereum. And right now, I would say we're going to have to see this get above this trend line here. It's having difficulty. Now, this, to some degree, is a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern setting up here. It's not exactly positive. I would like to see it do a little bit better. It's just not keeping up with Bitcoin. It used to be neck and neck with Bitcoin. Sometimes Bitcoin would do better. Sometimes Ethereum would do better. But lately, it's just not been the same. It's not been the same coin. So again, that's not my religion coming through. This is just looking at the price action and saying this thing is just not trending right now. All right, so the next one from David is LYX. LYX. And that's Alexo token. All right, so this one is not doing so good. Okay, so you can just look at something. If you look at this on a weekly chart, which way is it trending? We want to invest in things that are trending to the upside, and it's not doing that right now. So I would say we should avoid this one. We should avoid this one for right now, if I have the right chart for you. And David, the next one we're going to look at for you is Render token. Render token. Okay, so what's going on with Render token? So we've had the base. We already had the base. We went through the base back here in 2022, broke out above there. And now we can't go back into the base. It's kind of the same old expression where a racehorse doesn't go back into the barn, right? It doesn't go back into the gate. It goes forward. So if this thing is going to be a racehorse, it does not want to go back into the gate, which is below $1. So it spent a lot of time getting a altitude above that base at $1, and it's giving it back right now. So very quickly, this thing is going to have to get above, I'd say this level here, up to 2. It's going to have to break out above here and make a run for it. And I'm not seeing it with the volume. Notice how the volume has been declining. So right now, I'd say this one is a candidate for putting in a lower high and rolling back into the base, very unfortunately. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. And the only thing that, I would be more optimistic about this and say, whoa, looking descending patterns break to the upside. But we don't have any volume in this, at least not on Binance. Now, I don't know if they've started to move off of Binance and into something else. Let's take a look at, say, like KuCoin. And no, there's no volume either on that. So volume will make things happen, and it doesn't have it right now. So there you go, David. Okay, Riskino, we just did Chainlink a couple of minutes ago, and so we're going to do Cardano for you. Cardano is in sad shape, not looking good. Cardano is really one of the, it's still a top 5 coin, and I don't know why. Because this thing has been in a terrible trend ever since the top in 2021. And we're starting to see if there's no revenue for a project, if there's no business prospects for a project, the biggest change now versus where we were back in 2017 is in 2017, it was almost like the .com days where you could go get yourself a URL, a domain name, and brand yourself, and then you'd have, $1 million valuation on a company. No longer is that the case. And we had the same thing during the ICO craze where you could just, on speculation, you could get a coin to move. And if you could pump and dump it well enough, there you go. You're set for life. Now, what have we seen with like Shiba? And what have we seen with Dogecoin? Those are entirely meme coins. There's no value behind them. There's no structure. Although Shiba is trying to change that. And Dogecoin, we keep thinking that Elon's going to do something with that. But if Cardano is unable to get anywhere with, generating a business from this, it's going to be relegated to sub $1 coin. It's never going to get out of there. And the volume just keeps on sinking. So I think we're going to have the great, the great rinsing here pretty soon over the next year or two. We're just going to see some projects die and never come back again. So that's not what I'm predicting for Cardano, but it's got to change its path here because right now this is terrible. Beaches are packed. All right, that's awesome. Ruskino, what do I invest now? I'm mostly doing, so from a crypto perspective, the only thing that I am doing is I have become a maximalist. For right now, I'm doing dollar cost averaging in Bitcoin. And if and when LedgerX ever gets their act together and does something besides doing wiring money, so the only way that you can put US dollars into LedgerX is you got to wire it in. And that's, last time I did that, it was like $50 or $100 transaction fee for my bank just to do that. So until they get ACH, I don't want to send Bitcoin over there to trade in Bitcoin and generate more Bitcoin. That seems ridiculous to do. I may as well just trade that through futures. So yeah, if I can, I would be selling puts against Bitcoin right now, looking for physical assignment, and I'm doing dollar cost averaging. I mean, it's a real simple thing. Other than that, I'm doing options in the equities world. So I don't chase after things in speculation with the market moving down, right? I invest in things that are moving higher in price. And so right now, as long as things are moving lower, that's fine. Now, I am breaking that rule to some degree with Bitcoin because I'm willing to bet on the solvency for Bitcoin going forward. I believe that one is locked and loaded. That one will be there on the next moon. Hello from Slovenia. We got Robert checking in from Slovenia. Okay, Polygon. Let's see, Crypto Bureau. Let's see, Matic. Here, let's look at Matic. Matic is another one that is just, is it going to get out of its own way right now? And there's no trend to this. If you were to say if there's a trend to this, I would say it's to the downside right now. So Polygon, like everything else right now, this is separating, as they say, the fly shit from the pepper right now is what we're doing in the crypto market. Okay. Maybe an opportunity before Poly 2 starts later in the year. Okay, so Poly 2, there's got to be a big value prop behind that. If Poly 2 is a big value prop. They've already started accumulating this one. You know, markets move before the actual news, right? They move in anticipation. They're a permanent discounting mechanism 6 to 9 months ahead of when the actual news is there. So if there was something behind there, it would have already started to move. Hey, Wendy saying hi from Tasmania. Good to see many still here and you going strong. Best of the best. Thank you, Wendy. Good to see you. All right. ARB and OP. Let's see. ARB. And let's get them in there quick, guys, because we're running short on time. So ARB is still moving to the downside. Still moving to the downside. We still have negative trend here and declining volume. So not something I'd be interested in. Let's see, OP for the layer 2s. OP versus Tether. Okay, this one's slightly better, but still, again, trading below the 200-day moving average in green. So I don't like this. So it's not that I don't like this. Remember, it's not whether I care about something. I do not care about any particular project. I don't go for the tribalistic religion of these projects. All I care about is what the market thinks of it. And right now, the market does not care about either OP or ARB. Let's see, Andy, could I please repeat my settings for the CHOP LSRI study? Okay, so let's go over to, let's just take a look at Bitcoin with this one. And so what Andy's talking about is the CHOP LRSI, which is what Cryptomaniac put together. And if we go out to the settings here, settings, I'm using a length of 13 presently right now. And we're looking for different energy thresholds. You know, maybe you can do a screenshot of this and you can get what you need to off of here. But most of what I'm using is the CHOP length. And the CHOP length also ties in with the RSI in Laguerre time as well too, which is the blue line. The blue line is really more of a oscillator direction. Okay. Okay, Solana is our next one. So we're going to see Solana. And I've got that down here somewhere. There we go. There's Solana. Solana's actually had a good week. Solana's had a good week so far, but it's still below the 200-day moving average. And if we look at this thing, so the problem is it can't get out of the shadow of FTX. You can see here where it got blitzed with FTX, the huge volume, and it just can't get out of its own shadow of that. So ever since that happened, well, even before that happened, though, it was in bad shape. It was building a base down here. And now we're building a different base. So it's got a ways to go. It's got a ways to go. The market doesn't care for it right now. Okay, Sebastian has got, looks to be the final request for today, unless there's any other requests coming in. Oh, there's one more. Ave. Okay, so XRP has been interesting because it did get this little spike here from, let's get rid of that. We're going to remove that. We got this little spike because it looks like they won a lawsuit with the SEC. Although there were some strings attached to that, and we're right back into the range again. So you can see this base here. This is the, oops, let's try this again. The base here is really 55, and we're back inside the base. So we've got a racehorse that went back into the stall. Went back into the gate, which is not good. But, I mean, it's still one of the better ones lately. It's still got a rising base, which is good. So I'm not going to completely trash on it. It's had its moments this year, and it has been constructive. So there are many, many, many worse charts than Ripple right now. So it's hanging in there okay. It's just, I think it's waiting for Bitcoin to kind of clear the path in front of it, and then it may run. But if it can work its way into some kind of payment structure and actually start, driving revenue, that is going to make a huge difference towards this one. All right, I have Ave. I think that's how to pronounce this one. Okay. Boy, another crap chart, right? It's still in the base. You know, I hate to be, I hate to be dissing all these charts, but it's just, there it is. It's still in the base, and as long as it stays in the base, I'm not going to be investing in this one. The only thing I will do is I will chase after things that are going higher in price. So if you guys want to look for something going higher in price, what you can do is just use the pair screener down here. And you can find this, on a day-by-day basis. You can find things that are moving higher, although a lot of times they're just incrementally moving higher in this market. We've had to do this many times during the bears. This is auction, USDT, bounce token, and now we're down to 20%, which is really not that big of a deal. But you can find things that are actually trending higher, like this one here, Modex, using the screener. So there it is. There it is in all of its glory. It's a pretty illiquid coin, but it's cheap, and it's starting to move higher on better volume. Okay. Hey, guys. That's all I got for today. So I wanted to thank you guys very much for hanging out. And don't forget to check out our free trial, readysetcrypto.ONE. readysetcrypto.ONE. You get a week of free trial if you are interested in learning about this business and learning how to chart more better. Join me there. Thanks, everybody. Have a great Wednesday. You guys rock. We'll see you again soon. Bye now.